Hello everyone again, it's Cynthia here, and tonight we are going to be making some boudin with some beef tips and some corn. So as you can, well you can't see, but I will be doing this here as I am cooking the food during the time that the video is not paused. So stay tuned and keep watch because we are about to get started right now. We are going to start with the big, right here, this one here, the big cast iron skillet. We are going to take our extra virgin olive oil and we are going to pour some up in there just to coat the bottom. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to cut the bottom to get your beef tips done. Tonight we are actually going to be doing our beef tips differently. Instead of making homemade gravy, after we sear them, we will drain the grease from here. And we are going to turn this up to a max. For me, that's about a 6. On your conventional oven, it's either high or 6. So I'm going to get that on a 6 to get it heated. And we are, after we simmer and cook our beef tips, we will simmer them in some barbecue sauce. You can use any barbecue sauce you want, but this one's the one I have right now. So we're going to do barbecue sauce. It's only going to be just a little bit of barbecue sauce, but we're going to make sure our beef tips are all done before we start that process because we want to drain the grease. And then the big one where we're going to add more of it is the A1 sauce. So the barbecue sauce, you're just going to have a little bit. A1, you're going to have a lot. And I will show y'all about how much on each one. Now, if I was making grilled chicken or something, it would be vice versa. It would be more barbecue sauce than A1 sauce. But tonight, because it's steak beef tips, it will be more A1 sauce. And we are also going to add some Worcestershire sauce, however you want to say it. I borrowed this from a neighbor, and I'll be taking this back to her. And thank you, Darlene, for letting me borrow this to make my video tonight because I was missing this. So we got this going on the right here. We got our grease going. As you see, it's just coating the bottom of it just enough to heat it up. And on the small cast iron skillet right here, we will be taking a whole stick of butter. And on this one, we're going to put this one about a 3 because we want this to slowly melt the butter. We don't want it quickly melted. And I do have, like always, my Jarmex. Put some on my hand. And while we're waiting for this one to heat up, we can go ahead and stick the whole stick of butter in, or you can cut it down, which I might do. Here we are. And let me get one of my knives. I need to stick that one back in its sleeve real quick. Right here, this one. Got to put it back in its sleeve. It slipped out. And my knives are being pain in the butt right now, but here's my other one. This is the one I'm going to use to cut my butter. So I'm going to open my wrapper up. This here will help it melt a little bit better, and you ain't got to worry about waiting so long for it to melt. So after we open it all the way around, make sure no paper will stick to it. You got it open, and you can easily just slice some chunks out of it and stick it into your cast iron skillet. However big the cast iron skillet is or whatever. But we do have 2 of them, and I am using my smaller one, so I'm going to save at least half of it and do half of it, so that way we can cook on one at a time. And we're just going to let these melt down real good, because this here is what's going to make the good flavor for our boudin with a little bit of salt and pepper added. And that's all I will add to that. The paprika will be added to the beef tips. And when it comes to the boudin, we have the jalapeno flavored boudin that we will be using tonight. So it's going to be jalapeno flavored. Me and my Otis cannot have as much because we are on a keto plan. We shouldn't even be having this, but if you do it in a small quantity and you don't do it all the time, you do it maybe once a week, once a month, you can have just a little cheat day and just a small amount on your cheat. Not a whole lot. You want to still keep it keto friendly as best as possible. So the boudin, me and my oldest will only get a little bit of that, but our meat we can have all that we want of, and our corn we can have all that we want of. So that right there is where we will be doing our keto part and having just a little bit of cheat to have our boudin. So I love my boudin. I can't go without it. And this is starting to get hot. So I have 2 small packs of the beet tips. I have 2 small packs of them. So like I said, we will be doing a little pack at a time. Enough to do a little bit, and then go to the next one, do a little bit. So that being said, we're going to open that, and this is already hot, so we are going to turn this one down to about 3 because it's already nice and hot. Or you can go ahead and stick the beef tips in, and then we can season it after we get our beef tips in. And be careful of the grease because it is popping. Alright. I am standing back because it is popping really, really bad. Woo. So this is where it's not, there we go. I'm going to get the small spatula for now. There we go. This is going to help us out throughout the cooking on the meat. Alrighty. There. And they're using this kind of chunk them in, but don't hit them too hard in there because it will go splattering a lot. So with that being said, we are going to put our paprika on. You can add as much or as little as you want of each seasoning. The minced onions, I think I will wait until the barbecue sauce, the A1 sauce, and the Worcester sauce goes in to give it a little bit more flavor. But we just did some paprika. I'll put that off to the side because I've already next that. I got some lemon pepper. I'm going to add that onto it real quick. Our butter is nicely melted. That's good. And so we can turn that down to about a 2 and let that go for a few more minutes. That was the lemon pepper. Here y'all go, so y'all can see it better. And here's the paprika that I was using. Now we are going to use the garlic and herb all-purpose. And put a little bit on there. The full seasoning, Tony Statuary. Complete seasoning, you don't need as much, just a little sprinkle. And then we also have our ground black pepper. And our salt. Right here's our salt. If you got a salt shaker, that's even better, but if you don't, you can always just barely open it, make sure that the salt comes down a little bit, and kind of, you're like that right there. Just a little sprinkle out here and there. And before we cover it, there's the beef tips starting to go. And you can see the butter already melting, so we're going to cover the beef tips like that. And seeing that the butter is already melted, where did I just put my knife down at? If I can't find my knife, I'll just pull out another one. So hang on one second. I know it's right around here. I just got to figure out where I set it at. Oh, there it is. Right here. Alright, and we're just going to make sure you don't get the paper so that way you don't have to worry about it getting on your food or on your knife. Just open it up. And seeing that that half stick of butter is already done, we will pull out one of the boudin and just kind of cut along the wrapping like this. As y'all can see, it is cutting into the boudin. You just want to get around that wrapper. Oh, that wasn't supposed to fall, but it did. But once it's unwrapped, as you see, it easily comes right out. You throw that up into your skillet with the butter. and throw the wrapping away or off to the side, whichever way happens first. And this, like I said, our small little spatula will work with us. And we just kind of break this down. We might actually only need the half a stick of butter to do all of it. So we might be able to put the other one in here real quickly, but yes, if we need to add more butter, we still have the half a stick pulled out. So let me go ahead and throw the other boudin in here because we got room for it. Why not if we got the room? And get it done all at once. So pull out your other boudin, and again, like I said, cut the boudin where the wrapper is, and you're just cutting the wrapper open so that way you can get it out and you can start frying it. Now, as I said before, just like that, comes right out of the wrapper. You don't have to worry about the wrapper sticking to it, and you get rid of the wrapper, and bam, you fry this up. Oh, that one went over that way, but yeah, you fry this on up, and like I said, I'm going to leave it about a 2. We don't want to cook it too fast, and it looks like our butter went away, so that's why we still have our extra half a stick. So slide that in to different spots. Just kind of cut it and slide it into different spots of it. It'll help melt it and keep the flavoring real good for it. Move that to the side, and now we are officially done with our knife, so we can put that to the side also. Make sure that you don't leave it side up for when somebody goes to do the dishes. You don't end up stabbing yourself or somebody stabbing themselves. Always face it down. And like I said, we will be adding the salt, and here's the best time to go ahead and add our little bit of salt and pepper to it. Alrighty. And I will show y'all in just a minute after I get the salt and pepper in and I stir it together what it's looking like. Well, right now, before I add the salt and pepper, there you go. That's the butter that hasn't melted just yet. It will be melting real soon, and it's melting as I'm videoing. I already put the salt on. Now I'm going to add some pepper to it. And then we're just going to stir that all together also. And hopefully, as you see, this one here is a little bit easier to control with just one hand. But yes, we are just trying to melt the butter and fry this. So we can turn this back up to about a 3 for right now. And while the butter melts, if you have a lid that will fit over this, you can put that lid over it and it'll help melt the butter and give your boudin that little bit of crunch on the bottom. And then when you're ready to flip it over, you flip it over and you'll get that crunch on the other side a little bit, but it won't be overdone. It'll just have that nice little crunch flavor. It's not burnt or nothing, it's just a slight crunch, and it's real good. So while that sits there, let me see where my lids are. There we go, got my little lid, and it will fit over this one here. I can move it to the middle, and I can turn this back down to about a 2 right now. Like so. And turn that back down to about a 2 and let it just slowly heat up. You don't want to cook this too fast unless you're in a hurry and you don't have beef tips on the side. If you don't have beef tips on the side, you just got something simple like chicken strips or something, then you can heat this up quicker. But we don't have chicken strips, we got beef tips. So now that you have seen that part, here we are. Here is the here is the boudin so far. It does kind of look funny, but once I get it done, you will see how really good it looks. And here's the beef tips right before I go ahead and flip them. So we are going to go ahead and flip these over, and we can turn these up to about a 4 now that we got the boudin on and got it slowly cooking. We just make sure that all these are flipped over real nicely. And seeing that these small packs don't have as much, you can always put it, like I said, in the center where it heats up the quickest. So just make sure that you do flip them. I turned them down to a 3, so that way we didn't cook them too fast while we were getting our boudin going. So there we are. And we're going to move these to the center. And look how nicely these are starting to turn out. Let me do one thing. It's going to go black for a second. Alrighty, I might have to get a paper towel to wipe off my camera so it's not so blurry. So hang on, give me that quick second. There we go. That's a better view. Now, there y'all go. And as y'all see, that's getting hot. We might have to turn this up just a little bit also to a 3. Just to get it nice and warm again. Because we did turn it down to a 2 because it started warming up quicker. But now that we got more food in there, we want it at about a 3. Now that this is starting to sizzle, turn that back down to about a 3 and put our lids over both of them. Like so. There's some boudin on that lid, but it's okay. And we are going to put the lids on it like that. And these here, we are going to simmer on this side for maybe about 7 minutes. And we are going to keep an eye out on our boudin. So every time I check on my boudin, you will see me back on camera. So, and anytime we need to take care of this, which shouldn't be, we're not going to mess with it until it's ready to take these off and put the next ones on, because these are doing great on their own. That's just slowly cooking them. And like I said, we don't want our boudin to get done quicker than our beef tips, and we don't want our beef tips done quicker than our boudin. So we want to slowly cook both of them. Well, this one a little quicker, this one a little slower. But I said this one here I had put at a 4 just to heat it back up, because I had put it down to a 2 while we got our boudin done. It's nice and hot now, and we got it about a 3. So with it being about a 3, we will probably give it maybe 7 minutes, and then we can pull them off and put the next round of beef tips on. And like I said, they are cooking right now. So I'm going to get a trash bag together so I can start getting my trash gathered up and ready to throw out as soon as I'm done with this video. And as you can see, the beef tips are giving a nice steam off. So this is going to be good. I can't wait to show y'all the final touches, and I cannot wait for y'all to give it a try and tell me what y'all think for the first time. So I'll see y'all in just a few minutes. Alright everybody, the rice is actually boiling. I don't know if you can see that on camera right here, or it is boiling at, but if we pull it off you can see it. So, and this is still steaming really nicely, so these are pretty much almost ready to come off. Like I said, this here, you want that bubbling. You hear that searing, and you see that nice brown texture. That's what we are looking for on both sides of this. And that right there, not all of it's done like that, so that's what we are looking for all the way around. And when we break it down at the end, you will not believe the ending results. This is real butter, which is good for a keto diet. Like I said, the starch is where we go at. This is boudin, and boudin's made with white rice, so that right there alone is your starch. So you can, if you're on a keto diet and you're having a small cheat day, only do a small amount, and I'll show you a good amount. I might be wrong on it, I might need a little less, but what should be okay on a keto diet to have one small little cheat day without over cheating yourself and keeping yourself on track. Still have your favorite food, but keep it keto friendly. So we are going to turn this down to about a 2 now, and we will cover it back up, and we are going to check on our beef tips. So cover that back up, and let's look at our beef tips. Our beef tips are looking beautiful. So I think that we can actually, sorry, I got some grease in the eye. I think we can actually pull those off. I am real sorry, I really got grease in the eye. And again, here's this before I pull my meat off. So y'all can see it on camera, the Germix. And let me find something I can put down. Here we go. A bowl. A nice, clean, fresh bowl. We can drop these into there. We want them not to be in the way, because like I said, even after the next one's cooked, we're going to do the same thing. Put them in the bowl. Then we're going to drain the grease from this cast iron skillet, so that way we can do the flavorful topping of the barbecue sauce, the A1 sauce, and the Worcester sauce, with the seasonings that we added to these. So, and as you can see, I do have my new trash bag. I told you I was going to grab that while the camera was paused. So I had a way to get my trash out of my way, not in the way. Easier to turn around, just throw it away like that and be done without having to pick it up later. Then we're going to do like we did the last time, kind of put them in there, but this time it shouldn't hopefully pop us. So let's get them in there nicely. And before we put the video on pause and I take a minute to let this stuff cook, I will check the rice one more time because it is sizzling. Both of them are sizzling, so that is a very good thing. And like I said, we kind of want them, we can have this done just a few minutes early because it's enough time to cool it off while these are simmering for a few minutes after they're cooked. Because you don't want it hot when you eat it, but you want it hot. So you just want it like perfect temperature for hot. This one actually had a little bit more than the other one, but it's okay. We can still work with this and we can still season all of them. Like that. Let me wash my hands in the sink real quick. Very little water pressure, but it was alright. I can get my napkin. And I will put that to the side for a moment and I can do some German-X. Now again, when it comes to the seasoning, we got our paprika. As y'all can see, paprika. You put as little or as much of each seasoning, and if you want to add other seasonings, be my guest. You decorate it the way you like it, and like I said, tell me how you like it in the comments. And if you do try mine, tell me what you think. And then now we got our lemon pepper. And the same thing, you add as much or as little seasoning from each one as you like. I think this round here I'm going to add a little bit more to it because I'm not going to be doing the fresh lemons or limes this time around either, but I do have a couple of them. Then again, the garlic and herbs all-purpose seasoning, just a little bit of that. And then we got the Tony Satry complete seasoning. Oh, turned it the wrong way. There we go, and just a little bit of that. You don't need a whole lot. And then we got our ground black pepper. As you can hear, it's already starting to sizzle real nicely again. And again, our salt. And you can actually put all this up once you're done with your meats and stuff. That over here. And now that that's going real good, we can cover that. And as you see the seasonings right there, we will flip them. That's how we know what side is up, what side is down this time around. And as you can see, this is starting to boil some more. I know it looks funny right now, but like I said, I promise you in the end, it will look good. We can always empty out the butter out of this when we empty out the oil from the beef tips. So don't worry about it, there's too much butter or anything, because if you feel there's too much butter, it's alright. Like I said, right now we're slowly cooking it, and here in just a short, when these get done, and we add in our barbecue, our A1 and our Worcester, or Worcestershire, however you want to say it, we will actually turn this up and actually start to brown each side very nicely. And y'all will get to see the finishing touches on everything when it comes to that time. So I hope you're enjoying my video so far, and trust me, anything I make for y'all on this video, you will not regret it. You will actually fall in love with this. And like I said, me and my oldest is doing a keto diet, and my husband and my youngest are not doing the keto diet. And I have to learn a way to where I can fit in the keto diet for me and my oldest son, and still give my husband and my youngest son the stuff they need to help build muscles, which is different from what me and my son need to lose weight. So we can still work on a keto diet, and they can still have what we have in our keto diet, which is the meats and our veggies and stuff. But when it comes to the other side, the potatoes, the pasta and stuff like that, me and my oldest son can have very, very small amounts of starch once in a blue moon. But other than that, we have to have gluten-free, low carb, or carb balanced stuff. So we do work that out, as y'all can see in our videos. And no matter what I make, it still balances everything out for us all to get the protein, the nutrients and all that we need. So that is a good thing. But I'm letting these simmer. I'm about to cover this back up and let that heat up, like I said, because we want this here, the boudin, to have a nice brown on the top and the bottom. But like I said, it's okay if it slowly cooks, because we don't want to cook this a little too much quicker than this. But it's okay if this is done a little bit before this one, so long as it's still nice and hot, which it is. So that is a good thing about it. And oh, that is hot. As y'all can see the steam, I just burnt myself right here. But let me show y'all. They are getting close to needing to be flipped, but they're not ready quite yet. I want the little brown on the top a little bit more also, so that way you know the bottom of them are a little browner. Something more along the lines of, here we go, of that. Y'all can see the browning of those. That's what we are kind of looking for on these, on the beef tips. And this here, we are looking for the browning after we are done with the beef tips. So like I said, you won't be disappointed in this supper, I promise that. Alrighty, we are going to flip the second round of beef tips over. You can flip them any way you would like. Me, I'm just hoping I get them the way I need to. They could have used a little bit more browning, but that's okay. That's why there's extra time to actually let them sear a little longer. Some of them are in the middle, some of them on the edge. So the ones in the middle, of course, are going to sear a little bit quicker. And that's why you can have plenty of room to move them around. And when they cook up, y'all seen how full it was? Now it don't look so full because a lot of that fat has cut off of them and into the grease. So I will show y'all here in a minute what I'm talking about. When I put the second round in, it was, as y'all remember, completely full. Barely can move them, anything like that. Well, not like that anymore on this. And I have not removed any of them. So, I said, there is now plenty of room for them to get that here. So that's a good thing. So we're going to cover that back up, and we are going to check on our rice. And again, see that nice and bubbling over it? Hopefully you can. And I am going to give it a flip throughout. My dog is sitting here looking at me like, where's mine? She loves my cooking also. My cat, she doesn't do human food. The only type of human food she does is a can of tuna fish, open, nothing messed with. Just open it, give it to her, she'll eat it. That or cat food, that's all my cat will eat. But now I got that covered, and I'll show y'all what I mean about my dog. Here's my puppy, Dakota. She waiting for me to give her something to eat. So I might actually drop her a tiny piece where there's fat. Oh, yep. About to show y'all. See that right there? That's fat and cartilage. I don't want that, so my dog, I usually give that to her. America! Up! Up, 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 up. Oh, there she is. Like I said, she's my baby. She's about to be 6 years old. I love her to death. And we got this flipped over. We're going to let them cook a little bit longer. We got this simmering on the other side. So, let's wait and see how it turns out. I cannot wait to show y'all because it is going to be good. So, stay tuned. And I know it's only going to be a second pause for y'all, but for me, it's going to be a few. So, I cannot wait to show y'all how this is all going to turn out in the end. Alright, everyone. Now we are going to take the lid back off our beef tips. The big tips are looking good. So we are going to go ahead and take them off and place them into our bowl. Trying to drain as much of the grease as we can because we don't want grease really up in the sauce when we go to do the sauce. So and there we go. Last piece. Now you can hear that sizzling, so we're going to go ahead and turn that off real quick. While we see, as like I said, it's sizzling. I got all the meat out. Now we're over here with the rice. I'm going to move that there because that's going to be for our corn here in a short. Like I said, this here, that's what we're kind of looking for throughout the food. It doesn't overcook it. It just gives it that nice little crunch look to it, and it is actually really awesome. So that is looking good. And with that being said, we are actually going to take our grease over here, and I'm going to drain it real quick. So that way I can go ahead and get the beef tips back in and get the toppings for it going, the simmering and stuff of it. Now, there it is. With this here, so I don't burn myself. And the best thing about this is we took all the meat out, so we're actually just trying to take all the grease out of it. Hopefully you have a bottle inside that you can dump all that grease into. And the reason I held on to my paper towel is to wipe the grease off so you don't start a fire. There we are. And then we can take our beef tips and throw them all back into here. And then we take a little bit of our barbecue sauce. I've got to open it. Sorry, I should have opened this before I started the video, but I didn't think about that at the moment. Got to keep going. Have to go along the dotted lines, it looks like. Alright, there we go. Now we just want to add a little bit over that. Something like this here. Like I said, the barbecue sauce is not the golden key here of the flavor. It's more the A1 sauce with a little hint of something different for everybody. And then our A1 sauce, we are going to take our A1 sauce and just kind of drizzle it like that. Very little, as you just see. Because Worcestershire, however you want to say that, you don't need a whole lot because just a little bit goes a long way with that. Now with the A1, like I said, seeing that these are beef steak tips, this is where our A1 is going to be the star king of this masterpiece of our beef tips. So you just want to kind of drizzle it. You can get thick, you can get original, it don't matter. But you want to make sure that's nicely covering, and you want to make sure you got a nice little amount on there. Then after we get that in there, we can go ahead and turn this up to about a 3. And then we take it as it's at that 3. And we are going to mix this into all together. Seeing that we already seasoned it, we don't need to add any more seasonings except for 1. Like I said, I was holding that 1, and if y'all don't remember, I am about to show y'all that 1. So, I'm just trying to mix this all together. Hopefully y'all can see this going. And look how good that already looks. And this is going to simmer for a few minutes. And with everything, like I said, y'all may have forgotten what the last seasoning was. Minced onions. We're going to add this in. Me, I don't like to have a little bit. I like to have the onion flavor as long as it's cooked. So I pulled the top off and I just kind of get it up in there. Because right now, real onions unfortunately have been pulled because of salmonella. So, as you see, there's a nice chunk of the minced onions, and we just kind of stir that in there also, like that. And that is actually going to cut down and soften and give it that flavor. So that's a good thing. And as you see, that looks really nice. And we are going to recover that. We are going to cover that right back up. Now that this actually has some of the sauce on there, we are actually going to get the other spatula. So give me 1 second. Alright, the other spatula. Pull the lid off. And I need a pot holder because I know this is hot. Cast iron does get hot real quick, so make sure you got a pot holder or something in the area for you to mess with this. And like I said, you kind of are looking for the browning. Like I said, I know it looked really funny earlier, but look how this is actually starting to turn out. It is actually starting to turn out really nicely. That is the boudin there. So, like I said, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that browning all the way through. I'm actually going to give the boudin a try. Hot? Oh, that is so good. It's almost done, and I haven't even added my salt and pepper to it. So while I'm at that, might as well go ahead and knock that out of the way. So, can you please get that and wash it for me real quick? Ready? You need to go turn off the water hose outside. Alright, there's my salt. I mean, not my salt, sorry, my pepper. And now my salt. And again, you don't, if you have a salt and pepper shaker, that's even better. But other than that, you kind of have to eyeball it. So that might be open a little too much before I start shaking it. I just want it open very, very, very little. I don't know if you can see how little it is open. It almost looks like it closed, but it's not. And you just sprinkle that salt over it like that. And seeing that I have to wait on the other one, I can go ahead and got a paper towel. Knock that off of there, because we don't want that into our boudin. We just want that in our beef tips. So here we are. Stir that all up real nicely. It is starting to really come along real good. And the corn won't take long after all this is done and said with. The corn will be right behind it, and as I said, if you give it enough time, you ain't even got to worry about the butter. The butter is where the flavor comes from, and so does the salt and pepper if you want to add a little extra flavor to it. So that is how you will get that, and you don't want the wrapper on it. If you want it to be fried, do not have the wrapper on it, and like I showed y'all in the beginning of the video, it is easy. All you have to do is cut into the wrapper all the way down, and it slides right out of the wrapper, and you throw that wrapping away. And there we are. And I'm going to let this simmer for a few more minutes and let this simmer. And before I do anything else, where did I put my small lid? There it is. Here's my small lid. Cover that back up, and you see Ooh, can you hear that? Beautiful sound. Now, we are just going to mix it. This is where all the flavoring is going to come from, is it slowly simmering. It will simmer the flavor right into the meat. I do have it on a 3 right now, but with it is simmering like it is right now, and it's smelling really nicely, we are going to go ahead and turn this down to a 2 and cover it back up and let it simmer just a little bit longer, and let this continue simmering about 2.5, 3. So both of them are simmering, and we are almost ready to have our dinner. Alright everyone, well, the beef tips are done. They look really good. They're really they should be tender by now. And look how nice those actually look. Try not to inhale the smoke because it will kind of make you cough, but it smells so good. So we can turn that off. Well, actually, we want to keep this one on. And we're going to turn this one up to a max because we're going to do a can of chicken. Trying to get this sauce off the side here. Alright. So we're going to move this off to the side. And make sure that you put your lid back over it to keep the steam in. And I'll put it right over here on top of a oven mitt. I know you can't see me, but I'm on the other side. I'm just placing my pot on there, and I'm coming back to y'all. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to take our small pot, and that's already hot. I'm going to add a little bit of butter, real butter, and we're going to do a can of corn. As our vegetable, I turned it to max so that way it can go ahead and get cooked up. Like I said, the beef tips are good and ready to go. I'm about to check on the rice, but let me get this corn on as soon as possible. So that way it can cook up and we can eat. Just pour it in there. Put that up. There we go. Now let me check on this rice here. Look at this rice over here. Told y'all, once it's done, it's going to be nicely brown. See that brown right there? Kind of what you want to look throughout it. And as you can see, there's a little bit of brown, but there's a real nice looking rice right with it. That is exactly what we're looking for, so we can turn this off. Our rice is done. Now, our corn is on high, and we're just waiting on that to finish. And as soon as that's done, gets hot, melts our butter, which I'm about to put in there, it'll be time to eat. So let me move that and put this off to the side. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to use the lid for this with my corn. And no, I did not forget about my jar mix. Alrighty. Get that out of my way. I'm sorry about all that. Get my jar mix in my hands. There we are. And there's a grease mess, so this is going to have to get cleaned up. But that's alright. That's what happens with cooking. But it's not a huge mess. I did lose a little bit of rice. But again, it's alright. It was a clean stove before we began, so it ain't that hard to clean up. Nothing stuck to it. Now get your knife. I thought that we were done, but I forgot we were going to need this one last time. Luckily, you ain't got to worry if you start with a clean kitchen. There we are. And there we are. We just cut it down halfway into the corn. And now we're going to cover that corn up and let it heat up and melt that butter. There we go. Then we can take the rest of this and roll it up and keep it from getting messed up. And put it back in your refrigerator for another time. Now with that being said, like I said, we're just waiting on this corn. I put the butter into it. I had to get a serving spoon. Now we're going to get our ground black pepper. Sprinkle a little bit in. And close it. Get our salt. I need to move some of my seasonings back down, but we're going to take our salt and do like we did. Barely open this up, about like that, and just slowly sprinkle it in. And that's it. Just a little bit. That's all you need. Salt is real salty, so be very careful with it. These smaller ones, I just want to kind of move down here real quickly. That one's in the way. So there we go. Alrighty. Now, if you look and see, it is already starting to bubble. Not sure how much of that you can see here, but it is starting to bubble. So we are going to start that, and we're waiting for the butter to melt. Now that we got it stirred up a little bit, now that's what you're looking for. Okay? Easy, simple, it's hot. We're just waiting on the butter to melt so we can put this back on. Come on, there we go. And I get a plate. Take my spatulas. Like I said, me and my oldest can only have a little bit of the rice. You have to be very cautious on how much you have so you don't overdo it when you're on a keto diet. When you're bulking up, it's a different story. So we got our rice, and give me a second. I'm going to get some beef tips on this plate. And when it comes to meat, no matter if you're bulking up or you're slimming down, more protein is better than no protein. So as you can see, I got my rice and my meat on this plate. This is going to be one of the keto plates. That's the main one that is being shown, and our corn is now officially done. The butter is melted. It's bubbling. Turn it off. And there you have it. A keto-friendly meal. Very little starch. Still got your protein and everything, and your vegetable. That is a keto-friendly meal. And if you're wanting to bulk up, you add about another half of the amount of this, plus your meat and your vegetables. So like I said, this here is enough for somebody on a keto-friendly diet and a small little bit of cheat for the day. So I hope you like this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you can be notified when I put up new videos. And I'll see you in my next video, and I thank y'all all for subscribing, and I love you all. Bye bye.